Hello there, this is Cool Talk on my annual review, my predictions, and my choices for this year's Oscars. Now, this year has been a crazy year, 2020. A lot of movie theaters were closed down. These films, I had to watch them by streaming them, which is not really the good way to appreciate a film. In fact, I think I saw one of these movies on my phone. That's not the way to go. I think the ratings this year are going to be very low for obvious reasons. But if this serves for any purpose, I think that by watching this video, perhaps I can encourage some of you to watch some of these movies. And quite a few of them are very good. So without further ado, here are the Best Picture nominees. The Father. There have been many films about Alzheimer's before, but this one actually puts you inside of the person suffering dementia, the disorientation, and the confusion. Judas and the Black Messiah, as the FBI use an informant to infiltrate the Black Panthers. Mank, the true story of an alcoholic screenwriter who wrote Citizen Kane and tried to regain some dignity. Minari, the story of a Korean family trying to make it in the southern United States. Nomadland, several Americans, jobless and down on their luck, choose to live their lives outside on the road. A promising young woman. One young woman sets out to live out the revenge fantasy against abusive men. Sound of Metal. A heavy metal drummer struggles as he begins to lose his hearing. The Trial of the Chicago 7. Radical hippies being railroaded in the late 1960s. So let's get into it. The nominees for Best Supporting Actress are Olivia Coleman for The Father, Young Jung-yoon for Minari, Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Maria Bakalova for Borat subsequent movie film, and Amanda Seyfried for Mank. I wish Olivia Cooke from Sound of Metal or Yeri Han for Minari, or possibly Ellen Burstyn for Pieces of a Woman would have gotten a nomination. I would have picked any of them over Maria Bakalova, who was funny and quite the prankster in Borat's subsequent movie film, but I just didn't see it as Oscar material. Yet, some see her as a sentimental favorite and she could win. Now, she did prank Rudy Giuliani. You can just go ahead and Google that. Now, Glenn Close always impresses. She's been nominated 8 times without a win. But in the film Hillbilly Effigy, many saw it as an offensive caricature of Southerners. Her accent was sometimes off, and I don't see her picking up the award this year either. Olivia Coleman was heartbreakingly real as her character tries to gain a semblance of a life while caring for her father who's going through dementia. Yoo Jung-yoon was very endearing as a Korean grandmother trying to be useful to her daughter's family. She is actually my choice. But my prediction is it's going to be Amanda Seyfried, playing the role in early 20th century Hollywood as the daughter of mogul William Randolph Hearst. She is trying to appease both her father and writer Henry Mankiewicz. Now, who would have thought that one of the teen Mean Girls had it in her? Now, Best Supporting Actor, they are Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah, Paul Raci for Sound of Metal, Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, and Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami. I wish that Delroy Lindo would have gotten a nomination for The Five Bloods, and Shia LaBeouf gave the performance of his career in Pieces of a Woman. But with sexual allegations against LaBeouf, the studio wouldn't even promote him. Leslie Odom Jr. really shines as the singer Sam Cooke, bumping heads with Malcolm X for performing in white clubs. Paul Raci was a natural as a deaf community leader in Sound of Metal. Sacha Baron Cohen was funny and convincing as radical Abbie Hoffman. But the Oscar will fall between either Daniel Kaluuya or Lakeith Stanfield. They had acted together before in Get Out, and here they are again in Judas and the Black Messiah. The only complaint that I have is that these are really starring roles, not supporting. But that said, my choice and my prediction goes to Daniel Kaluuya. He's been nominated before, and he is mesmerizing as the Black Panther chairman Fred Hampton. Heartbreaking sometimes, whether he's mobilizing the masses or recruiting his troops. Best Actress, and this is a very tough call. Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman, Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Amanda Day for The United States vs. Billie Holiday. Viola Davis proves that she can do no wrong. She is both caring and bullying, and she can sing. But this is more of a supporting role for me. Now, Amanda Day could win. She's already won several awards. She's picked up a few here and there. But for me, the film The United States versus Billie Holiday felt a little bit exploitative with the sexual scenes. The pacing was uneven. I feel that the film didn't serve her very well. But she is deserving. Frances McDormand could pick up a third Oscar playing the grieving, wandering widow in Nomadland. And Vanessa Kirby, mourning the death of her stillborn child, lets us read her thoughts through her eyes. Tough one, but my choice and my prediction is Carey Mulligan. Funny, scary, unpredictable as she weaves her web of revenge both over past and potential future sex offenders. She has never been better. Best Actor, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Stephen Yeun for Minari, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Anthony Hopkins for The Father. Gary Oldman struts and stumbles drunkenly through Mank, and he initially gives up on life and then later on chooses to regain his dignity. But he's won before, and I don't see Oldman winning again. Stephen Yeun personifies a struggling little man, in this case a Korean, trying to get his farm to be productive here in the United States. Riz Ahmed is a marvel, inarticulate, frustrated, and finally coping with a handicap that he's never had to deal with before. Anthony Hopkins is brilliant, as his character's mind is taken over by dementia. Now he and Riz Ahmed would easily be my choice except for one thing, and that is Chadwick Boseman. Boseman is cocky, scared, boastful, annoying, and angry as a trumpet player with big dreams and even bigger demons. I'll admit that his sad death at 43 does make him a sentimental favorite, but sentiment aside, he deserves this award. He is both my choice and my prediction. The Best Director nominees are Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, David Fincher for Mank, Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, and Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round. Now, I didn't see Another Round, so I can't speak for it. This category was tough, but not for the reasons you might think, because I respected the film Mank and I respected the movie Nomadland, but I didn't really love them. And Aaron Sorkin would have been my choice for Best Director for the film Trial of the Chicago 7, but he wasn't nominated. I really liked Promising Young Woman, and Minari was a small, well-crafted work. But what is really my choice? I don't know. I think I'm going to choose Mank, and because of its direction on a technical level. However, my prediction is going to be Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. And I'll speak a little bit more about Nomadland in a moment. In the meantime, I think that Emerald Fennell may get Best Original Screenplay for Promising Young Woman, and Kemp Powers may get Best Adapted Screenplay for One Night in Miami. And now, everybody, the big one, Best Picture. The movie The Father purposefully confuses us as events repeat themselves, set decorations change, the background changes, even the actors change, and we are made to feel like the protagonist as he goes through his disorienting paranoia. Strangely, director Shaka King was not nominated for Judas and the Black Messiah, even though everybody was comparing him to Martin Scorsese, and in my book, he also seemed a lot like Spike Lee. Now, Judas and the Black Messiah both entertains and angers us as the Justice Department puts its claws into both the FBI informant that it exploits and the leader it wants to take down. Mank is impressive, but it kept me at a distance. The cinematography and the acting are superb, top drawer, but I didn't really care for it very much. Minari was a sweet film that delivers its message without being heavy-handed. A small, endearing film that demonstrates that more important than a family's struggle is the family itself. Promising Young Woman was a strange combination of impending horror and bubblegum. While I watched it, I enjoyed it. After the movie, I thought about it and I didn't like it. Then I thought about it again and I liked it. Ultimately, it is a good film with its share of twists, but the plot devices and loopholes kind of keeps it away from greatness. I do recommend it, though. Nomadland could easily win, but it's one of those films that many people watch and praise and then never see it again. Mostly because the pacing is so slow. Frances McDormand is great as usual, but the main draw for me were the interviews with the real-life nomads, people that are down on their luck and living in the United States, going from job to job and traveling around the country in this docudrama. I highly recommend Sound of Metal, and it probably will get an award for sound. It puts us into the head of the person facing approaching deafness. Great performances all around, a very touching film. So I liked several of these films, but my choice is The Trial of the Chicago 7. It's a nice little gem, a slice of life of the 1960s history. It's funny, it's fast-paced, the courtroom antics turned the drama into a circus. And the radical hippies argue as real people, not the stereotypical stoners that we often see them as. Now, will it win? Probably not. I think the award will go to Nomadland unless Judas and the Black Messiah causes an upset. So, this is a very strange year, not just because of COVID, but because there's really no front runner in many of these categories. So we'll have to wait for the Oscars on April 25th. In the meantime, everybody, send me your comments, send me your likes, or better yet, subscribe. This is Cool Talk.